He was raised by a bird, feared by kings. She was the fire in Zahhak's blood, untouched, unseen, unreachable. They had never met, yet love struck like lightning. One arrow, one meeting, everything changed. Not a tale of lovers, but a war between fate and fire. And now, it begins. Zal and Rudabeh. One day, Zal decided to journey through the eastern lands of his domain. Gracefully and with purpose, he made his way toward Kabul, passing through Puyan and Karaman. The ruler of Kabul, Mehrab, descendant of Zahhak, and a vassal who paid tribute to Sam, hurried forth with countless gifts to welcome Zal. Zal, who had pitched his royal tent by the stream, received Mehrab in audience. He seated him at his table, rejoiced at the visit, and asked him to speak any wish he had, promising to fulfill it. Mehrab requested that Zal visit his home as a guest, and that this, his only wish, be granted. Zal respectfully declined, explaining that due to differences in beliefs, his father Sam would not approve the visit. Though Mehrab felt hurt, he praised Zal outwardly, spoke kindly, and returned to his palace. Zal, before the nobles at court, praised Mehrab's height, manners, and nobility. Though they did not share his beliefs, they respected Mehrab in agreement with Zal's view. Then one among those present told Zal that Mehrab had a daughter, tall as a cypress, beautiful in face, and dark-haired, who had no equal in beauty and grace. The description of Mehrab's daughter, though Zal had not seen her, stole his heart. He became enamored and love-struck, and lost all strength and composure. When Mehrab returned home, his wife Sindokt and daughter Rudabeh, both adorned and fragrant, approached him gracefully and sweetly. Sindokt asked about Zal, the man who had been raised by a bird. Mehrab spoke of Zal's wisdom and noble behavior, and said he saw no fault in him except the whiteness of his hair. His words lit a fire in Rudabeh's heart, and suddenly she lost control over herself and fell in love with Zal without ever having seen him. Rudabeh went to her chamber, summoned her maids and nurses, and revealed her love to them, seeking their counsel. "You are the daughter of Mehrab, ruler of Kabul, blessed with beauty, grace, and perfection," they told. "With such beauty, have you no shame before your father that you've fallen for one? Whose father cast him out, leaving him to be devoured by beasts and birds?" Rudabeh became saddened by their response, raised her voice and said, "My heart belongs to Zal, not another man. I will not marry any man but him." When her servants saw the strength of her love, they agreed to help and find a way for the lovers to meet. At dawn, 5 maids set out from Kabul toward the garden where Zal had pitched his tent. Zal saw them and asked, "Who are these girls?" They answered, "We serve Rudabeh, picking flowers for her." When Zal heard this, he quickly came out, took a bow from his servant, shot a bird with one arrow, and dropped it into the stream. Then he asked the maids why they had come. They revealed that Rudabeh had heard of his qualities, fallen for him without seeing him, and they had come to arrange a meeting. Zal gave them valuable gifts for Rudabeh and asked them to secure a promise for a meeting and to inform him. The maids returned and presented the gifts to Rudabeh, informing her of Zal's love. Rudabeh sent them back to tell Zal that he could come that night to a separate palace, away from the royal harem. Night fell. Rudabeh had adorned the palace and herself and sat in wait for her beloved. Zal arrived at the foot of the palace with a servant. Rudabeh came to the rooftop, welcomed him, and praised him. Zal, upon seeing her, lost his senses and said, "Show me the way to see you." Rudabeh let down her thick hair from her head, its curled and tangled strands reaching the ground. Zal kissed her hair, then took hold of it like a rope, and with swift hands began to climb toward the terrace. He embraced Rudabeh, and the two lovers whispered sweet secrets to each other. They vowed that under no circumstance would they marry another, and with this pact, they parted at dawn. Next morning, Zal gathered the sages and asked for a way to marry Mehrab's daughter. The nobles and army chiefs were worried, for Mehrab was of Zahhak's lineage. They advised that Zal write to Sam and inform him of his feelings. Since Sam had promised never to refuse Zal anything to make up for past wrongs, he would have to accept. When Sam read the letter, he first was saddened, for he could not break his vow, yet saw the union of two opposing bloodlines as troubling. He called upon priests, astrologers, and wise men of the court for help. The seers saw in Zal's stars that from his union with Mehrab's daughter, a son would be born, brave, wise, and mighty, who would conquer the world with his sword and be the refuge of its kings and people. Sam, gladdened by the prophecy, sent word to Zal that although he disapproved, he would honor his oath and write to the king to request consent. Zal received Sam's message, grew hopeful yet remained anxious, longing to be with Rudabeh. Day and night he thought only of her. Through a woman who had access to Mehrab's palace, he sent gifts to Rudabeh. Rudabeh also prepared fine gifts and gave them to the woman for Zal. By chance, Sindocht saw the woman, and suspicious of her frequent visits, and asked who she was and why she had come. The woman said, "Rudabeh asked for ornaments and jewels, and I brought them." She went to Rudabeh and asked for the truth. Rudabeh began to cry, fell at her mother's feet, and revealed her heart. Sindocht was terrified by the news. Then she, grief-stricken, returned to her chamber and took to her bed in sorrow. Later, Mehrab returned from visiting Zal, cheerful. He found Sindocht asleep unusually early, her face pale and tear-streaked. He asked what was wrong. Sindocht told him of Rudabeh and her love for Zal. Mehrab grew angry and furious, intent on killing his daughter. Sindocht wrapped her arms around her husband and pleaded for patience and reflection. "If Sam the hero and King Manucher hear of this, they will destroy our lineage," Mehrab said. Sindocht calmly said, "Do not grieve, for Sam already knows and has written to the king, asking him to approve the union." In his letter, he reminded the king that Feridun himself chose daughters of the king of Yemen for his sons. Mehrab, hearing this, calmed a little and said, "Go bring Rudabeh to me." Sindocht still feared for her daughter's life. She made Mehrab swear not to harm her, then went to Rudabeh and said, "Take off your jewels and fine clothes. Wear something simple and go ask your father's forgiveness." Rudabeh replied, "When my heart and soul belong to Zal, what need have I to strip off ornaments?" She rose, adorned and radiant, and went to her father, and from his wrath she did not escape.